Okay, so welcome back, and now we have this function that's defined as g of x is equal to the integral of 1 over t cubed plus 1 dt. Now, in this problem, they're asking us to use the fundamental theorem of calculus, part 1, to find the derivative of this. Now, since this is a function defined as this, the fundamental theorem of calculus says that g prime of x is just going to equal this evaluated at x, at this endpoint. So this is just going to equal 1 over x cubed plus 1. That's it. So basically, in other words, if you take the derivative of both sides, the derivative undoes the integral, and you get this out but evaluated at x. And because it meets the conditions, it's a continuous function, it's integrable over everywhere except at -1, right? But this is starting at 1, so -1 isn't even in the limits of integration, or the interval of integration. And that's it. It's that easy. Okay, so now let's do another one. In this case, we have f of x is equal to 1 to the square root of x of sine t dt. Now, in this case, it says find capital F prime of x. Well, now we're going to use the fundamental theorem of calculus and the chain rule. Okay? So, instead of having x here, we have a function. Right? So let's rewrite this as 1 to f of x of sine, let's use g of x here. Sine t dt. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We're going to need to use the chain rule here because we're taking the derivative, right? So what's going to happen here is, if I take the derivative of this, f prime of x, well, again, remember, this is going to be sine t, but it's going to evaluate it here. So this is going to equal sine of g of x, but then we have to take the derivative of the inside function. So it's going to be d well, since I'm using functions, I'm going to use, it'll be dg. So it'll be dg dx. So now what happens is this becomes sine of the square root of x times the derivative of the square root of x with respect to x, which is going to be 1 over 2 times the square root of x. Okay? And so then if we rewrite that, we would just write it as sine of the square root of x over 2 root x. And that would be our final function. So there we have applying the fundamental theorem of calculus part 1 along with the chain rule.